What the hell is going on, folks? I'm Goat. Welcome back to the breakdown. Fuck me running, man. I mean, I actually had a good record this week, but god damn the games this week. I can tell you this before we start the week. My record right now since week 4 is 105, 55, and 1, which puts me in a very, very paltry, low, sad 53% win rate. Fuck my life with the NFL this season. Oh. So 49ers at Seahawks, as I figured would happen. 49ers won. I don't have questions with Brock Purdy. I really don't. Because he's the 49ers only require like a maintaining quarterback, a managing quarterback. And that's an ideal situation for a rookie quarterback to come into. So fuck the Mr. Irrelevant crap. He's in the perfect system for his skill set at the moment. And do I think he can grow and make that offense better? Sure. Do I think he deserves a chance over Trey Lance when he comes back? I think if he finishes the season as strong as he's playing right now, yeah. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to do rookie stupid things. But at the end of the fucking day, I mean, is it going to be worth it to keep him in there if he keeps playing well? Yes. So keep an eye on Brock Purdy on that one, obviously. But the 49ers defense was just obviously far too much for the Seahawks, which makes next week for the Seahawks a much more intriguing thing going against the Chiefs. But we'll get into that later. But the 49ers beat the Seahawks 21-13. Not a shock. Not a shock. Next game, absolute fucking shock. I don't think anybody could have possibly predicted exactly how this game was going to go. Colts at Vikings. Like, what the fuck was that shit? First of all, Matt Ryan now owns the record for both postseason losses after holding a large fucking lead, and then now regular season losses after holding a lead of that size. They gave up 33 fucking points in the second half. Fucking poor Matt Ryan, dude. Like, it's not even on him, aside from the fact that all they needed to do was continue to score field goals, and there's no way that the Vikings could have caught them because time was their enemy. But they just shit the bucket in a quarter and a half. Like, the halfway through the third quarter, the Vikings just rallied. I mean, I love the coach's fucking speech at halftime. Well, we only need 5 touchdowns. Okay. That's epic. I mean, who the fuck says that? Epic comeback from a completely shitty first half from the Vikings. No doubt about it. Good on the Vikings for that. Vikings win 39-36, as I picked, but I was not. I figured it was going to be a blowout. Vikings just blowing the Colts' doors off. I really did, but whatever. Next game, I chose it was Ravens at Browns. I chose Browns to win. I was correct because the Ravens are fucking depleted, and the Browns literally just capitalized. Very low-scoring game, kind of exactly what I figured it would be, just mostly defensive, and Browns won 13-3. No shock. Next game, Dolphins at Bills. I chose the Bills for a couple of reasons. One, I don't think the Dolphins defense is as good as everybody likes to say that it is. I don't think it's bad. Okay. I think that much like the 2018 Chiefs, the 2018 Chiefs had a very high-powered offense and a very mediocre to shit defense. And that's right where the Dolphins are right now. They've got a very high-powered offense with a really, really shit to mediocre defense. And going against the Bills, it's a very questionable situation. And the fact that the Dolphins were actually in this game as well as they were, God almighty, dude, you got to give props to the Dolphins on their game plan. But between the snowballs flying into the end zone, which I know didn't inhibit the play, but that's pretty fucking rude by the Bills fans, I will say that. And the weather going to shit, and then just the Dolphins just didn't quite have enough oomph to stop the Bills at the end of the game. That's really what it came down to. I did choose Bills to win. They won 32-29 over the Dolphins, which sucks because I'm a Chiefs fan and I'd really like the fucking Bills to lose just one game and the Chiefs went out. So the Chiefs get the 1 seed, but I'm trying to stay unbiased here too. So, you know the deal. Next game, Eagles at Bears. Now, honestly, I've got 2 parts of this. One, I did not expect this game to be as close as it was. And 2, I was certainly not expecting Jalen Hurts to get injured, although running quarterbacks have a bad tendency of that, especially when they're the size of Jalen Hurts. But that being said, I chose the Eagles to win. They did win 25-20 over the Bears, but now Jalen Hurts is questionable going into his next game for the Cowboys next week, so that's going to be an interesting endeavor to look at. Fuck. Another fucking problem. And in years, this is the first time I can say I'm not surprised at the next team winning. Lions at Jets. Y'all heard me last week say Lions, we're going to win this game. I figured it, if I remember correctly, I think I said it was going to be a close game, and it was 20-17, but the Lions are flying high right now, man. They're playing good ball. Dan Campbell, as goofy as that motherfucker is, and he is a goofy son of a bitch. Okay. I mean, as far as being a head coach, he is a goofy, old school, like Mike Ditka kind of guy. He just, threatens to eat people, bite people's shoes or bite their legs and their feet and shit to try to get everybody rallied. Just great. I mean, it's a lot of oomph, but at the same time, he's a goofy son of a bitch as a coach. But that being said, he has somehow rallied that team into playing some very good ball. So yeah, Lions won 20-17 over the Jets. I'm really not surprised with that. I mean, the Jets had to bring Zach Wilson back in. He actually didn't play bad. Jets defense just really honestly had a couple of minor struggles with a very, very hard pressing forward offense of the Lions. And I never thought I would say that with Jared Goff as a starting quarterback, but man, that kid looks good this year. He really does. I mean, he looked like crap the first half of the season. Now he looks amazing. Go figure. So next game, Steelers at Panthers. I chose Panthers to win this, honestly, because Mitch Trubisky was starting. Okay. And I figured it would be a close game just because the Panthers aren't really that good at all this season, but the Steelers are struggling. And the only really great part about the Steelers this season has been their defense. But their defense in the first half of the season was so banged up, they just couldn't keep up with anybody. Now, Trubisky chooses to fucking play a good game. Thank you very much. Mitch, you finally don't look like a backup for one fucking game, you dick. I'm fine with it, man. I like the Steelers. I really do. I truly like the Steelers, and it really hurts me to pick against teams that I like. But at the same time, I try to stay unbiased with it, and I was wrong on this pick. I chose the Panthers to win because I didn't think that the Steelers offense was going to be productive. I was incorrect. So Panthers lost this game to the Steelers at the tone of 24-16. Ouch. No shock that the Panthers lost another game, let's be honest. Next game, Chiefs at Texans. God damn, man. I mean, you want to talk about the Chiefs basically trying to give me a fucking heart attack the entire goddamn game? What the fuck was that shit? Okay, first of all, there has been more than a few games this season that have had such questionable officiating. The Raiders tend to get really good officiating. The Chiefs tend to get really bad officiating. The Cowboys officiating has been hit or miss. The 49ers seem to get a lot going their way. The Buccaneers tend to get a lot going against them, but they really need any more roadblocks given all their injuries. I mean, there's just been games like the Commanders games. The Commanders games have been really questionable. And this week was a perfect example of how badly the NFL needs to go back and fix some of the horse shit that's being called. Because the Chiefs game, the Chiefs at Texans was a horribly officiated game. The Cowboys game was questionable. The Bengals Bucks game was questionable. The Dolphins Bills game was questionable. The Giants Commanders, I think, was next to the Chiefs Texans, was probably the worst officiated game. The Patriots and Raiders, that was a terrible, terrible officiated game. Oh my God. We'll get to a couple of those games. But anyway, so Chiefs and Texans. Chiefs were playing against the officials and the Texans in that game, but they were also playing against themselves. I will say that defensively, the Chiefs look like shit. They to me right now, the Kansas City Chiefs look like the 2018 Kansas City Chiefs. And if we all remember that season, that's the season that they lost to the New England Patriots in the championship. So hopefully that's not the case, but they really need to right the goddamn defensive ship as far as the Chiefs defense is concerned, because the Texans surprisingly controlled quite a bit of this game. It may not have looked like it as far as score or anything else, but the Texans stayed in this shit until the end. They really did, man. It took a walk-off overtime touchdown off of a turnover on a quarterback option for the Chiefs to win this game. And the Chiefs won the toss, so they couldn't even get it done at the beginning of overtime. So the Chiefs ended up winning a game with 5 minutes left in overtime. What? This game should have never been close. It's the worst team in the NFL. I understand they went head-to-head with the Cowboys, but the Cowboys do have their struggles. They're very intermittent offense. They're good and bad, kind of like the Jaguars. And honestly, the Texans, I don't know what the hell flared them up aside from the refs seemingly in their pocket right now, which is fine. But this should have never been a close game, and it was. So, but the Chiefs did win 30-24 over the Texans in overtime. Next game, Cowboys and Jaguars. I'm going to preface by saying this like I've said last year as well, and I've been saying for years. I think that there should be a stat line for interceptions, specifically for deflections for catchable balls, because I've seen so many people bashing Dak Prescott for that interception at the end of the game in overtime for the Jaguars to get a walk-off, pick six. That was not on Prescott. He put the ball right in the chest of his fucking receiver, and the dude literally deflected it up in the air right to a safety or a linebacker. I can't remember. Either way, he deflected to one of the defenders, and dude literally just ran it in for the touchdown. That's not on Dak, dude. Dak, in my opinion, played actually a pretty good game. But Cowboys were my pick, and they lost to the Jaguars because I keep saying the Jaguars are better than their fucking record. I think Doug Peterson is riding that ship slowly. I think next year they have a very good chance of being a really good contender, and they've still got an opportunity to step into the playoffs if they win out. There is a good chance for them to get into the playoffs, which is a surprising thing considering what last year looked like and what the beginning of this year looked like for the Jaguars, but we'll see where that goes. Next game, Cardinals at Broncos. Honestly, I assumed that the Broncos were going to struggle offensively against the Cardinals defense. God damn, was I wrong. Yeah, I mean, again, I said it last week, this is a pickle race game. It doesn't matter which one you pick, you're probably going to be wrong. Cardinals lost this game to the Broncos. Broncos took it 24-15. Doesn't really surprise me because, both teams are shit. They're both eliminated from the playoffs, for Christ's sake. Next game, Titans and Chargers. I've been saying it, man, even depleted with some of these guys coming back, the Chargers are a for real fucking team. I figured that the Titans defense would, have some problems with the Chargers, and I was right. The Chargers ended up getting a, game-ending field goal, 17-14 over the Titans. So I figured it'd be close, but the Chargers are feisty, and as of right now, they deserve to be in the playoffs where they are. So if they can win out, that's exactly where they're going to be, is in the fucking playoffs. Bengals at Buccaneers. Buccaneers were up 17-0. The Buccaneers were up 17-0 in complete control and then absolutely just fell the fuck apart in the second half. Bengals rallied, beat the fucking Buccaneers 34-23. I had no fucking clue that the Buccaneers were actually ever going to have a lead in this game. I figured that the Bengals were just going to sweep the bejesus out of them in this game and just call it good. But there you go. So next game, Patriots at Raiders. I know there's probably a shit ton of people that are talking about it because before I shoot my videos, I don't really watch any other analysts or commentators talking about shit because I just kind of want to have my own formulated opinions about games. But I will say this, Bill Belichick is one of the few coaches, however much anybody likes or hates Bill Belichick, and I'm not a big fan of Belichick. I think he's kind of an ass overall. But Bill Belichick is one of those guys that preaches situational football. Okay, play good situational football. Always, at least for the last 2 decades, he's just been one of those guys that just absolutely expects his players to play exceptionally good situational football. It's just the kind of guy he is, old school grindy mentality. And the way that the fucking Patriots lost this fucking game was probably the most boneheaded play I have ever seen in a National Football League game ever. I've seen this shit happen in high school, and I've seen it happen in college games. Seen it happen in Pee Wee football. Who the fuck in the last part of the game at a tie game is going to lateral back to a very immobile quarterback for the most part, try to anyway, all the way from the sideline with a really, really big defender in the path of it? What the fuck, man? Like, this game it had a touchdown that shouldn't have been a touchdown for the Raiders. We've got horns honking outside of my house. That's awesome. It's probably UPS. We got a touchdown that shouldn't have been a touchdown. Piss poor fucking offensive play from the Patriots overall. And just generally 2 kind of craptastic teams playing each other. Good defense versus a good offense with a okay defense. The Patriots defense is no slouch either, but they're really a very well-matched pairing of 2 teams to play. And the Raiders win on a walk-off picks. I guess it's technically classified as a fumble recovery because it was a lateral pass, not an actual pass. So, but it was a lateral, so I guess it would be technically classified as a fumble recovery for a touchdown. But yeah, basically a shitty lateral pass when you could have just kneeled it, taken it into the fucking overtime and tried to win it there. But no. Team decided to try to be smarter than what they are, and they lost. Raiders took the game 30-24 in the last literal 5 seconds of the game. It was the dumbest shit I have ever seen in my life from a Patriots team, much less any NFL team. Stupid. So Giants at Commanders. I chose Commanders to win this game, and honestly, I feel really bad for Commanders fans today because the Commanders, although this was not a great game for the Commanders, they had an opportunity to at least try and tie the game, and it was literally stolen from them on such a missed PI in the end zone at the end of the fourth quarter. Like, if pass interference doesn't involve a guy doing a piggyback ride on the back of a fucking receiver and pinning one of his arms down with the ball in the air aimed at him as a very catchable pass, I don't know what the fuck pass interference is supposed to be these days. I really don't. Completely inhibiting the ability for a receiver to play the ball. You're behind the receiver and you're literally on his back. Your feet aren't even on the ground. No call. That should have been an overtime, and let's see who wins this, but it was not. Commanders lose to the Giants to the tone of 20-12. It is what it is. I mean, it was Commanders versus the officials, not even Commanders versus the Giants. That was Commanders versus the officials because there were some really fucked up calls in that game. And then the final game, honestly, I'm not shocked. I'm really not. I'm actually shocked with how bad the majority of the offensive play of this game was for the Packers, because it wasn't great. It really wasn't. There were some really, really, really fucked up missed passes and bad routes and just, Aaron Rodgers just kind of being weird, but at the same time playing great. I'm so confused with the Packers this season, man. But the Rams at the Packers took this game 24-12. I honestly think that the Rams are just entirely too depleted to do anything, and they got themselves eliminated from the postseason by this loss. So that's that. So week 16, we got Jaguars at Jets. Didn't we literally just have that? No. Oh, hold on. Week 15. My God. No, it was Lions at Jets. Okay, I was like, what the fuck? Okay, so week 16, we have Jaguars at Jets. I'm going Jaguars on this one. Okay, I really am. I think the Jaguars are playing very good ball, and although they are hit or miss, I think that the Jets defense is good, but so is the Titans. Look what happened there. I don't think that the Jets offense is productive enough. Even if they do get Mike White back, he's still got busted ribs. I don't see the Jets having quite enough oomph to take down the Jaguars. I don't. I could be wrong, though. I mean, I think this has the potential to be a close game, if not an overtime game. So, don't know. Falcons at Ravens, even depleted, I think the Ravens are going to take the Falcons because the Falcons are just a fucking mess. Lions at Panthers. If the Lions fuck this game up, let them finish the season and not go to the offseason, because considering they're taking down pretty good teams, if they lose to the Panthers, they don't deserve to be in the postseason. Okay, let's just be honest. Seahawks at Chiefs. I think this is going to be a pretty goddamn close game. I really do, because the Seahawks defense is okay, and the Seahawks offense is okay. The Chiefs offense is pretty fucking good, and the Chiefs defense, other than the front four, is trash. Like, well, okay, I'll say that Nick Bolton and Willie Gay, and then the front four. I think so. There's 6 guys on the defense that are really good, and then the rest of the defense is so questionable game to game. I'm still going to pick Chiefs on this, but I think it's going to be a very close game. Saints at Browns. I honestly think that the Saints defense is going to harass the shit out of Deshaun Watson, and I think the Saints had just enough to eke out a win over the Browns defense. Probably wrong on that, because the Browns defense is good when it wants to be, but the Browns offense is just stagnant, even with good old Deshaun back there. Captain Bad Touch. Gotcha. Texans at Titans. It's a divisional game, so it's always wonky. Texans are playing surprisingly good ball, mixing up with 2 quarterbacks, kind of like the Saints are, but I think that the Titans defense will be ready for them, and I think the Titans offense has enough to get the job done, so I think the Titans will win a close game against the Texans. Bengals at Patriots. I don't really think this is a question. As long as the Bengals don't start like they did against the Buccaneers, I think the Bengals are going to probably convincingly beat the Patriots. So, Giants at Vikings. Although the Giants defense for the most part is okay, and the Vikings defense is a little questionable at times, I don't think that the Giants defense is going to have near enough to take down the Vikings. I just don't. Unless the Vikings pull a bullshit move like they did with the Colts and almost fuck up their life in the first half. So, whatever. Bills at Bears. I think if the Bears win this game, I think God came down and kissed all of their asses. Picking Bills on this one. Commanders at 49ers. As much as I like the Commanders, I'm just going to simply say they do not have enough to take on the 49ers defense. I don't see it. Eagles at Cowboys. Now, this is probably the hands down hardest pick for me because the Eagles have a potential for Jalen Hurts to not be playing due to a sprained shoulder. And it's his right shoulder, so I believe that's his throwing shoulder. But he also finished out the fourth quarter dropping dimes and dropping dimes at his players. So I don't know what to think of it. They're saying that there's a very good possibility that he won't be playing, so it is what it is. At the same time, that leaves Gardner Minshew coming in, and I don't think he's had near enough reps with the team. But the Eagles' defense is also no slouch. But they're going against the Cowboys, whose defense is also no slouch. And a really erratic Cowboys offense. I think if the Cowboys stick to the run game and they alternate their two backs like they've been doing and then play off of the play action, I think they have a chance to take the Eagles if Gardner Minshew is playing. If Jalen Hurts is playing, I don't think there's a question that the Cowboys are going to lose this game. But I'm going with Cowboys just off of the present information that Jalen Hurts is probably not going to be playing. Probably going to miss that pick. Next game, Raiders at Steelers. The Raiders, as of right now, have not played well against top-tier defenses. And although the Steelers suck thus far in like the last year or in the last month of play, the Steelers defense has been playing exceptionally good. Although they've been losing games, it's because they've had no offensive productivity whatsoever. The Steelers' defense has been playing very good, and the Raiders thus far this season have not been playing good against good defenses. So I look for Derek Carr to be absolutely harassed in this game by the Steelers, and I think this could be a probably last-minute field goal by the Steelers if they're lucky and Trubisky actually shows up to fucking play. My opinion only. Dolphins at Packers. I do not think that the Packers defense has enough to stop the Dolphins offense. I just don't. Broncos at Rams. Hey, look, it's garbage against garbage. I'm going Broncos. I really am. Buccaneers at Cardinals. Also, Cardinals are eliminated, and they're a mess. I'm going Buccaneers, but the Buccaneers are fucked up and they're a mess too. But they're trying to stay ahead and get the 4 seed at least. Chargers at Colts. Although the Colts defense is feisty as fuck, I think the Chargers are going to probably convincingly beat the Colts. So yeah, there's week 16. If you got an opinion on it, leave it in the comments. Folks, I do want to thank you very much, as always, and I'll catch you next week, all right?